we think, therefore we are, right? So I think what he's saying there, and you can disagree with Descartes about a lot of things, but he's describing this reality that you know what your mind is. You have a direct perception of yourself in your mind. You can close your eyes and be thinking about things, right, that aren't here. You have thoughts, needs, hopes, desires. You have a sense of self. You have a sense of like your past and your future. You have the ability to think, the ability to feel. It's not that you're emulating that. You actually have that. Now, when it comes to actually recognizing that in someone else, it's called the problem of other minds. And that's a much harder thing. So you have direct perception of your own mind. And then if you look around, and this is actually where it starts to touch on law in an interesting way, I would say, because you can look around, and they have this issue in philosophy of mind called the philosophical zombie, right? Which is there's this possibility that maybe a portion of people out here in this audience,
or all of them,
you are just very good at emulating a mind, but you don't actually have one.
You're exact physical duplicates of us, but you have no consciousness.
Well, not exact, they're younger.
Well, minus whatever consciousness supervenes on.
But you get the point. And so that's a possibility. But here's the thing. If you don't actually have a mind, that actually changes the moral calculus immensely. Because if someone doesn't actually have a mind, it probably changes our moral responsibilities to them. And so that's actually where it does start to have an impact in philosophy. And like I mentioned Plantinga, and he wrote a book that was pretty transformational, or pretty important, I think, called God and Other Minds, right? But the challenge is that you can't actually give, while we have direct perception of our own minds, and so we can say, okay, I have mind. I can't actually give you a logical reason that's clear, that doesn't have massive loopholes about why you have a mind. And that's a pretty striking thing, given that that's a foundation for basic things like in law and morality, and we don't know why that's the case. I mean, like, how do we all come to the view where we just all believe that everyone has minds? People aren't generally going around thinking. You have to go to talk to a philosopher to learn about philosophical zombies, right? And I think what he argued, and I think this is correct, is that it ends up being a proper basic belief. It's something that we all believe for no good reason, and it's true. But we don't actually have a good reason to believe it, and it's true. And that actually works great when we're talking about people. But the problem now becomes when we start thinking about things where we don't actually have a proper basic belief about consciousness, and it can start becoming really relevant.